Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I do want to show you how to crochet this cardigan. This pattern, it is still a work in progress. This is the first try on this cardigan. It turned out pretty good, but I am still trying to finish this pattern in a different way because I want to have a pattern that is easy to be understood. So that's why this is the first try. I am still currently working on this cardigan. Stay tuned for the full pattern in many different sizes. However, since I have crocheted this pattern, I thought let me just also film it. So if you are a size S, you can totally use this pattern and crochet this cardigan. But if you are another size, maybe you need to do some adjustments, and yeah. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and without further ado, let's just get into the tutorial. For this project, I'm going to use acrylic, and the yarn that I'm using, the specifics are 50 grams per skein, 150 meters long. So it's kind of a fine yarn, but I guess also a DK yarn like medium weight will also be okay, but I would just stay there in between fine and medium weight yarns. Also, I am using a 3.5 millimeter hook, and first I'm going to crochet the front panels of the cardigan. So the front panels are going to look like this. This cardigan, it is crocheted vertical and not horizontal as we sometimes mostly do. So we are going to crochet the stitch which looks like a brioche knitted stitch, but we are going to crochet vertical. So we are going to start crocheting like this. Also, I do want to tell you that I'm not going to concentrate on showing you how to crochet this stitch, because for this stitch I have a specific video that you can just watch if you are a beginner and if you want to see how exactly this stitch is crocheted. So I am going to leave for you the video also in the description box and also somewhere over here. I am going to crochet for you the size S, which is also my size. So let's start with the front panel, and the front panel, this is the underarm over here and this is the front. So we are going to start working this way, and we are going to do all these increases until the top over here, and here is going to be the shoulder. So I'm going to start first with the beginning over here, and we're going to start with 49 chain stitches. So once I have 49 chain stitches, I'm going to start crocheting from the bottom up, which means that we are going to crochet the ribbing first. So we are going to start from this side, from the ribbing at the top. Okay, so for the ribbing we are going to use the slip stitch, and for the other one we are going to use the closed half double crochet stitch. So the pattern, it is going to continue. I am going to skip the first chain stitch and I'm going to crochet 10 slip stitches. So skip the first chain stitch and insert the hook in the second chain stitch and crochet 1 slip stitch, and continue crocheting slip stitches until you have 10 slip stitches in total. These 10 slip stitches are always going to be the same amount, since it is going to be the ribbing of the cardigan. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to continue crocheting another 6 slip stitches, in total 10. Once you finish the 10 slip stitches, at the 10th slip stitch I usually put a marker, so then I don't make mistakes, and then I know that always here starts the slip stitches. Then I have the rest of the stitches, 38. For this 38 chain stitches, I am going to crochet 38 closed half double crochet. So 1 closed half double crochet on each chain stitch. So for that, I don't know if you remember this kind of stitch, but I am just going to show you very briefly how to do this stitch. So I will just yarn over like the half double crochet. I will insert the hook at the next chain stitch. I will yarn over, pull 1 loop, And the loop that I pulled, I am just going to put my 2 fingers like this, keep the rest of the stitches, and I am going to pull this loop through this 2. So pull here. So this is a closed half double crochet. It's not like a proper half double crochet. So yarn over, insert the hook at the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull 1 loop, and this loop, now I'm going to pull it through these other 2 loops. Yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull a loop, and now this loop, I'm going to pull it through the other 2 loops as well. So this is the closed half double crochet. I'm going to continue until I have in total 38 of them to the end of the row. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished the first row, which is upwards, and for the first row I have 10 slip stitches and 38 half double crochet stitches. But to finish the first row, we actually need to do the chain stitches that will help us to increase for the second row, because for the second row we are going to increase with 3 stitches, with 3 closed half double crochets. So for that I'm going to crochet 3 chain stitches. 4 chain stitches, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I am going to again turn my work, and now I'm starting the pattern for the second row. So for the second row I'm going to skip the first chain stitch from the hook, and at the second chain stitch from the hook I'm going to crochet 1 half double crochet. I will continue crocheting half double crochet for the next 2 chain stitches. So in total I have 3 half double crochets here before I start the stitches that I had already from the previous row. So I increased with 3 half double crochets. So we always increase at the half double crochet side. And now I am going to continue crocheting the rest of the stitches with half double crochet until the marker. And in total there are left 38 over here. And then at the marker I will start to crochet slip stitches until the end. So in total I'm gonna have, with this 3 half double crochet stitches, in total I'm gonna have 41 half double crochet stitches. So let's continue finishing the second row until the end with the rest of the half double crochet stitches and 10 slip stitches where we have the marker here. Okay, you guys, so here it is. This is how the first ribbing or the first 2 rows look like. So 2 rows make 1 ribbing. 1 ribbing always ends at the slip stitch side, at the ribbing side, at the end of the cardigan. This is the end of the cardigan. So 1 ribbing has 1 row going upwards and 1 row, the second row, going downwards, and then we are done with 1 ribbing. I am going to continue doing these ribbings until I have 7 of them. And I am increasing for the front side. Let me show you. So if you can see here, this is the front, one of the front panels of the cardigan. Here we have the arm opening, and here we have the front. Here we're gonna have also the ribbing all around, and here are going to come the buttons, okay? So until we go up here from the chest until up here at the shoulder, we are going to do all these increases, and in total for size S we're gonna do 11 increases, but for the first 7 increases we're gonna increase with 3 half double crochet stitches, closed half double crochet stitches, and for the last 4 we are going to increase with 4 half double crochet stitches. As I told you, the increases are going to be always done at the closed half double crochet side and not at the ribbing side, right? So we have 11 ribbings, which means that one ribbing has always 2 rows. So in total we're gonna have 22 rows until we come here at the shoulder, at the top. So I already crocheted one ribbing, so I already crocheted this part over here, and I ended up over here at the end, and I did the first increase. So for the first row, for the first ribbing, I increased with at the first row with 4 chain stitches, and then I skipped 1 chain stitch, and I increased with 3 half double crochets over here. So each ribbing is going to have 3 closed half double crochet stitches more. We are increasing with 3 stitches always over here for the first 7 ribbings. I hope this makes sense. So I already crocheted 1. I'm going to continue crocheting another 6, and for each ribbing I am increasing with 3 half double crochet. So I am going to start now the second ribbing. The second ribbing has 2 rows. So the second ribbing has row 3, which goes upwards, and row 4, which goes downwards. At the upwards we crochet the stitches, same amount of stitches that we have. The only thing that we do more, we increase with 3 chains. We crochet 4 chains more. And then for the downwards we skip 1 chain, and we have 3 chain stitches that we crochet closed half double crochet. So we increase with 3 stitches. So this is the pattern that I'm going to continue for the next 6 ribbings. So I will crochet the upwards rows with the same amount of stitches. So again, 10 slip stitches, the amount of closed half double crochets, and 4 chain stitches. Then the downwards row I am going to have to crochet 3 more closed half double crochet stitches. So I'm increasing with 3 stitches every time that I go downwards. Okay, so just repeat that. So for the first ribbing I ended up with 41 half double crochet stitches and 10 slip stitches, but for the second ribbing I am going to end up with 44 half double crochet stitches, closed half double crochet stitches, and again 10 slip stitches. For the third one, for the third ribbing, I'm going to have 47 closed half double crochet stitches, and so on. So for each ribbing we increase with 3 closed half double crochet stitches. So I'm going to continue crocheting until I have 7 ribbings in total, and for each ribbing I increase with 3 half double crochet stitches, the same as I did now. So I will meet you once I have 7 ribbings in total. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I did finish 7 ribbings. So once I have 7 ribbings, which each ribbing has 2 rows, as I explained before. Now for the next 4 ribbings, I am going to add 4 stitches for each ribbing. So which means that the first 7 we added 3 stitches for each ribbing. But for the next 4 ribbings, which means for ribbing number 8, 9, 10 and 11, we are going to add for each ribbing now 4 stitches and not 3 stitches as before. Again, always here at the top, we are going to add them at the closed half double crochet side and not on this side. So when you finish the 7th ribbing, you're gonna have in total 59 stitches for the closed half double crochet, and of course 10 slip stitches over here. So in total you're gonna end up with 69 stitches. Now I'm going to start the 8th ribbing, and for the 8th ribbing again I'm going to repeat the same pattern that I repeated for all the other ribbings, except that I am not going to crochet 4 chain stitches anymore, but I'm going to crochet 5 because I want to add 4 stitches on the second row of the ribbing. I hope you can understand this. So this is the shoulder panel. Now another 4 ribbings. I'm gonna increase 4 stitches per ribbing, and then I will end up here. Okay, then we are going to crochet the shoulder. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished also the last 4 ribbings in which I added, so if you see this 1, 2, 3, 4, this last 4 ribbings are the increases are higher than the first 7 ribbings, because for the last 4 ones I crocheted, I increased with 4 stitches, as I told you. So at the 11th ribbing, when I finish the 11th ribbing, and it is here, I will end up at the slip stitch side, at the ribbing side, and the quantity of the stitches that I have for the 11th increase, 11th ribbing, it is 75 closed half double crochets and 10 slip stitches. So this is the amount of stitches that you are going to have once you finish the last 4 ribbings, with increasing 4 stitches for each. So now I am going to do the shoulder. So if you see, I did the increase here, all the increases, and I ended up here at the shoulder. So now I am going to crochet, no increases or decreases anymore. So I'm going to crochet the shoulder, and I'm going to continue crocheting another 6 ribbings, which is 12 rows. Okay, so for the next 6 ribbings I'm just going to continue the same amount of stitches that I have at the last row of the 11th ribbing. So in my case, for size S, is 75 half double crochet stitches and 10 slip stitches. So I'm going to continue now crocheting this 6 ribbings, 12 rows, without increases or decreases. Okay, you guys, here we are. I did finish the next 6 ribbings and the last 6 ribbings. So together with the 11th one, they look like the same level, because I just continued the same quantity of the stitches that we had at the 11th ribbing. So I finished another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the shoulder side, and now we are going to start here doing the shaping of the underarm. Okay, so we are going now to crochet this part over here. This part over here. So this part over here has in total 6 ribbings. The first ribbing, we are going to decrease the first row with 22 stitches, and then the second one with 1 stitch. Then for the next 4 ribbings, we are just going to decrease for the next 4 the same way. The first one this way with 2 stitches, and the second row of the ribbing this way, so downwards, with 1 stitch. So we are decreasing 2 stitches on the way up, 1 stitch on the way down. Again on the second, so apart from this one, so on the third one is 2 stitches decrease on the way up and 1 stitch decrease on the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For these 4 ribbings, we're just going to decrease 2 stitches on the way up, 1 stitch on the way down. For the first one, we are decreasing 22 stitches, so we're going to leave this one without working. 22 stitches on the way up and 1 stitch on the way back. And for the last ribbing, we're just not going to increase or decrease. I'm just going to do 1 more ribbing, the same amount of stitches that I'm gonna have this last ribbing over here. So I just told you the full pattern, but I am going to show you a little bit how I am going to decrease. So let's start now the ribbing number 18. So this was number 17. I'm going to do now and start the decrease over here. So for that, I am going to start again from this side. We start the ribbing always from the bottom ribbing. For the 18th ribbing or the 35th row, so this is the 35th row that I'm doing. So the pattern that I am crocheting now, for the arm, it is going to be 10 slip stitches over here and 53 half double crochet stitches up to here. I think it's going to be, so we're gonna skip 22 closed half double crochet stitches. And here we are. So I crocheted 53 closed half double crochets, and I left the last 22 without crocheting. Now I'm going to turn and crochet the 36th row, which is the second row of ribbing number 18. So I'm not going to do one chain stitch. I'm just going to leave it like this, and I'm just going to turn without doing chain stitches, because I'm going to skip one of the stitches over here. I'm going to decrease with one more stitch. So I'm just going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook at the second, so yarn over, and I'm going to insert the hook at the back loop of the second stitch from the hook, and I'm going to do one half double crochet, closed half double crochet. So let me do that one more time. And like this, I have decreased with one half double crochet on the way back. So I decreased on the way up with 22, and one stitch, I decreased one stitch on the way back. So because I decreased one stitch over here, I did not crochet one, I skipped. I'm gonna have now 52 closed half double crochets until the marker, and then I'm gonna have 10 slip stitches. So this is the pattern for row 36 for size S, and yeah, I'm just going to continue and finish the ribbing to the end. I finished the 18th ribbing, so here is where we do the shaping of the underarm. So now I'm going to continue crochet another 4 ribbings, and each ribbing it's going to have a decrease of 2 stitches on the way up. So I'm going to work the stitches up to here until 2, and then 1 stitch on the way back. So for the 19th ribbing, which is the next one that is coming, for the 19th ribbing I'm gonna have on the way up 50 stitches and on the way down 49 stitches. Of course, I'm not including this too, because this 10 slip stitches over here, because they are always there. And then for the next one, for the 20th ribbing, I'm gonna have 47 closed half double crochet stitches on the way up and 46 on the way down, and so on. For the 21st ribbing, I'm gonna have 44 stitches on the way up and 41 on the way down, because for the next 4 ribbings I am decreasing 2 stitches on the way up and 1 stitch on the way down. So when I will finish the 4th ribbing that I'm decreasing, so except this, apart from this one, we don't count this one, we are talking about the next 4 ribbings. So at the end of this 4 ribbings, the last ribbing, it's going to have 40 stitches on the way back, and of course 10 stitches, 10 slip stitches at the end. So this is the amount of stitches that you're gonna end up at the end, at the last row of the 4th ribbing. Okay, so I am going to just crochet now another 4 ribbings with the amount of stitches that I told you. So for each ribbing on the way up, we are going to decrease with 2 stitches, and on the way down we are going to decrease with 1 stitch. So each ribbing has a decrease of 3 stitches. And here we are. I finished also the 4 rows where I decreased, sorry, the 4 ribbings where I decreased with 3 stitches, so 2 stitches upwards and 1 stitch downwards, and together with the ribbing that I decreased 22 stitches upwards, then you're gonna have 5 of them like this. And now I'm going to crochet one more ribbing. So one more ribbing, it means 2 rows, one row up and 1 row down, with the same amount of stitches that I had here at the last ribbing. So I'm going to continue crocheting now ribbing number 23. So in total for size S there are 23 ribbings, and at the 22nd ribbing, the one that I just finished, I ended up with 40 closed half double crochet stitches and of course 10 slip stitches. So now I'm just going to repeat this pattern upwards and downwards, 10 slip stitches, 40 closed half double crochet stitches for just one more ribbing, and then this panel is finished. And here we are. I finished also the 23rd ribbing, the last ribbing, just repeating the same amount of stitches, same as the 22nd one. And now here at the end I am just going to leave some yarn for the sewing. And this is the pattern for the front side. So of course you are going to do 2 of them, which I already did previously, the other one. The only thing is that when we are going to use them, we are just going to flip it. One of them we're going to flip it, and so then we're gonna have the 2 front sides of the cardigan. So this is the bottom and this is the upper part over here. And of course here in the middle it's going to be a border, and then here we're gonna put again the border in between and the buttons. So this is the pattern for the front panel. Now I'm going to show you the panel for the back. For the back panel we are going to have this type of construction. So at the back we are going to have, we're gonna have 2. So we will start with shaping the underarm, then we will increase until the shoulder, then we're going to continue crocheting until to a certain amount for the back, then we're going to come here on the side and we're going to shape again with decreasing the underarm. So this is the construction that I wanted to explain of the back panel. Of course we are working vertical, all the ribbings. So for that I am going to start first to crochet in the beginning, to start from the underarm. So I'm going to crochet 51 chain stitches. Once I finished 51 chain stitches, I am going to start from the bottom ribbing side, which means that I'm going to start with a slip stitch pattern. So for that I'm going to skip the first chain stitch and I'm going to insert the hook in the second chain stitch, and I'm going to do slip stitch, and I'm going to continue crocheting slip stitches until I have 10 slip stitches in total. At the 10th slip stitch I will put a marker so I know where the slip stitch starts. Then at the end I have another 40 stitches left, 40 chain stitches, and these 40 chain stitches I'm going to work with a closed half double crochet. And here we are. This is the first row of the first ribbing with the 10 slip stitches and 40 closed half double crochet to the end of the chain stitches. Now I'm going to do one more chain and I'm going to turn my work and work the other side to finish the first ribbing. And for the first ribbing, for the second row and for the first ribbing, this is the second row of the first ribbing, I am going to crochet the same amount. I'm not going to do any increases or decreases, so I'm just going to continue crocheting closed half double crochet stitches, 40 in my case for size S, until the marker, all in the back loop. And then once I arrive at the marker, I'm going to crochet at the back loop again of all the stitches one by one, 10 slip stitches. So I'm going to continue with the same amount of stitches. So 40 closed half double crochet stitches at the back loop and 10 slip stitches all at the back loop. And with that we are finished with the first ribbing or the second row of the back panel. Okay, so here we are. I finished also the second row. So this is how the first ribbon looks like. So now I'm going to start the pattern. So I started here. This is going to be underarm, and now I'm going to start to do the decreases over here because I'm going to shape the underarm. The first ribbing, I told you the pattern. Now we are going to continue with another 4 ribbings. For these other 4 ribbings, for each ribbing we are going to add 3 stitches, and we are going to add them in this way. So on the way up of the ribbing we are going to increase with 1 closed half double crochet and 3 chain stitches, and then on the way back those 3 chain stitches we're going to skip 1, and then we are going to increase with 2 closed half double crochet, and then we are going to repeat that pattern for the next 3 ribbings. So the next 4 ribbings are going to have the following pattern. Let me show you so then you don't get confused. So I'm going to start now the second ribbing or the third row. So for the third row I'm going to turn my work like this, and the pattern is going to be 10 slip stitches until the marker. Then I am going to crochet 40 closed half double crochet until the end, but at the last stitch over here, once I crochet the 40th one, the 40th closed half double crochet, then in the same stitch I'm going to crochet 1 more. So it is going to be 39 closed half double crochet stitches, and then at the last stitch I'm going to increase with 1, which means that at the last stitch I'm going to crochet 2 closed half double crochet. In total there are going to be 41 closed half double crochet. So I really hope that this makes sense. So anyway, you can follow me step by step so then you can understand how this pattern works. Okay, so let's start with 10 slip stitches first. So 10 slip stitches, and then for the next 39 stitches we're going to do closed half double crochet. 1, 2, so here we are. I finished 39 closed half double crochet, and at the last stitch, at the 40th one, I am going to crochet 2 closed half double crochet. So I am increasing with 1. So 1, and again a second one in the same stitch. So now I have in total 41 closed half double crochet stitches for the third row, and I have increased with 1 closed half double crochet. Then to finish the third row I am going to crochet 3 more chains, 1, 2 and 3, and that is because on the way back on the fourth row we are increasing with 2, so we need these 3 chains. So now for the third row, and this is the second row of the second ribbing, right? So for the fourth row I'm going to turn my work on the other side. I'm going to skip the first chain and yarn over and insert the hook on the second chain from the hook, and I'm just going to crochet 1 closed half double crochet and then again a second one on the next chain. So like this I have increased with 2 closed half double crochet on this side and 1 on the other side. So for the full ribbing, which has 2 rows, we have increased with 3 stitches, right? So now the rest of the stitches, I did this 2, and then the rest are 41 until the marker. So in total, including the 2 that we increased over here, there are going to be 43 closed half double crochets. Okay, so we are going to finish the fourth row, crocheting another 41, including these 2, 43, and 10 slip stitches. So I will see you at the end of row 4. And here we are. I finished also the fourth row, and this is how it will look like from the front. So this is my first ribbing and this is my second ribbing, and at the second ribbing I increased with 3 stitches. Okay, now I'm going to continue crocheting the third ribbing. The third ribbing is the same kind of pattern as the second one. So in the third ribbing we are just going to crochet and increase again with 3 stitches. So on the way up, when we crochet on the way up, we are going to, at the last stitch, we're going to crochet 2, and we're going to increase with 1 closed half double crochet. Then we are going to crochet 3 chain stitches, and then on the way back, we are going to, in these 3 chain stitches, we're going to skip 1, and then we're going to increase with 2 closed half double crochets. So for each ribbing, for the coming 3 ribbings, we are going to increase for each ribbing with 3 closed half double crochet. 1 we increase on the way up and 2 we increase on the way down, always crocheting also the 3 chain stitches on the way up. Okay, I really hope that this makes sense. So at the 5th ribbing or the 4th ribbing that we increase, because this is the second one, and I told you we're gonna have 4 ribbings that we increase. So 4 plus 1 that we did, in total there are going to be 5 at the 5th ribbing or at the 4th ribbing that we increase. At the end you're going to end up with 52 stitches, half double crochet, closed half double crochet stitches, and 10 slip stitches at the end. So this is the amount of stitches that you're gonna end up at the second row of the 4th ribbing that we increase. So I'm going to continue crochet another 3-1, and I'm going to increase for each ribbing 3 stitches. I really hope that this makes sense, but let's crochet 3 more ribbings using the same, increasing the same amount of stitches that we increased in the second ribbing. So here we are, guys. I finished the next 3 ribbings. So in total, with the one that we did together with the second one, there are 4. So 1, let me show you. So the 4 ribbings that we increased are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So at the last ribbing, when on the way back, I have in total 52 closed half double crochets and 10 slip stitches over here. So this is the amount of stitches that you are supposed to end up at the last ribbing, at the last row. Okay, I really hope that made sense. So now I am going to have 1 more increase, and this is the last increase for the underarm. And this is the 6th ribbing. At the 6th ribbing, we are not going to increase anymore with 3 stitches as we did for the previous one, but we are going to increase on the way up with 1 and on the way back with 22. So how we are going to do that? We are going to continue this pattern for the 6th ribbing. So we are going to do the 6th ribbing is the 11th row on the way up and 12th row on the way back. So for the 6th ribbing and the 11th row on the way up is going to be, the pattern is going to be 10 slip stitches. Then I'm going to continue crocheting 52 closed half double crochets, and at the last stitch I'm going to increase with 2. So at the last stitch I'm going to crochet 2 stitches in the same stitch. So in total I'm going to have 53 closed half double crochets. This is the pattern. And then at the end I'm going to, since on the way back I am going to add 20, increase with 22 stitches, on this way we need 23 chain stitches. So this is the pattern: 10 slip stitches, 53 closed half double crochets, and 23 chain stitches. So let's crochet this pattern for row 11. So here we are. I did crochet 51 closed half double crochet, and then here at the 52nd and the last one, I'm going to crochet 2 closed half double crochet, 2 chain stitches. So this is the pattern: 10 slip stitches, 53 closed half double crochets, and 23 chain stitches. So let's crochet this pattern for row 12. So here we are, I did crochet 51 closed half double crochet, and then here at the 52nd and the last one I'm going to crochet 2 in the same stitch. So I have in total 53 closed top double crochet stitches, so I increased with 1 closed top double crochet. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is 23 chain stitches. 1 2 3 4 5, and this is how it is going to look. So you can see now where this pattern is going. So now I'm going to start the second row of the 6th ribbing, or the 12th row of the full pattern. So I am going to turn my work on the side now, and I'm going to skip the first yarn over first, skip the first chain and insert the hook on the second chain and crochet a closed top double crochet. I'm going to continue crocheting closed top double crochet until the last chain stitch, and in total are going to be 22 over the chain stitches, and then the rest are 53 over the rest of the pattern. So in total we're going to have 75 closed top double crochet until the marker. Now this is how it is going to look like, and again for the rest I'm going to continue crocheting closed top double crochet, but in the back loop, and I will crochet until the end, just before the marker. And where is the marker? I'm going to change to slip stitch. So here we are, guys. This is how the 6th ribbing it is going to look like. And from now on we are not going to do any more increases or decreases. So from the 7th ribbing until the 43rd ribbing, we are just going to continue repeating the same pattern forth and back. 10 slip stitches over here, 75 closed top double crochet. Together with this there are going to be 38. So when you end up at the end of the 37th ribbing, you are going to see that you're going to have 1 ribbing more, so you're going to have 38, because you can see that we already crocheted this and it will be connected with the other side. But anyway, just not to mix you up, apart from ribbing 6 that we just did, now continue crocheting another 37, and we just repeat the same pattern of the 2nd row of the 6th ribbing, which means 10 slip stitches and 75 closed top double crochet. So we are going to meet up at the end of ribbing 43, and in rows it is going to be the 86th row, because we're just repeating forth and back the same pattern. So I will see you once I am at the end of the 43rd ribbing. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished 37 ribbings together with the last increase that we did over here. There are 38, so you're gonna have 38 ribbings for size S. And now we are going to continue and do the underarm shaping, which is the same pattern that we did for the front panel. So for the front panel we did the arm shaping over here, so this is the same pattern that we are going to repeat on this side. So I'm going to continue with ribbing 44, and the ribbing 44, it is actually going to be the pattern of decreasing with 22 stitches. So the pattern that I'm going to follow for ribbing 44, it is the same pattern that I followed for this part over here, which for the this panel it is ribbing 18. So in here is ribbing 18, and I'm going to repeat ribbing 18, the pattern of ribbing 18 for the front panel. I'm going to repeat it over here, but here it is actually ribbing 44. So I'm going to repeat the pattern of ribbing 18 to ribbing 23, this pattern over here. So the pattern, it is for the next ribbing, it is going to be which is ribbing 44, and it is going to be row 87 and 89. And the pattern is just going to be 10 slip stitches from here as always. Then I'm going to have 53 closed top double crochet. Then I'm just going to turn and I'm going to skip one stitch because on the next row on the way back I am decreasing again with one stitch, and I'm just going to crochet 52 close half double crochets and 10 slip stitches. So the same pattern that we did for the front. So I'm going to go with 10 slip stitches and 53 close half double crochets, and on the way back I'm decreasing with one more, so it's going to be 52 half double crochets and 10 slip stitches. Okay, here we are, and I finished the 44th ribbing, and as you can see here, on the way up I decreased with 22 stitches, and on the way back I decreased with one stitch. Now I'm going to continue another 4 ribbings, and for these other 4 ribbings I'm going to have the same pattern, just that the quantity will change, because every ribbing I am going to decrease with 3 stitches. So for the 45th, 46th, 47th and 48th row, for the next coming next coming 4 ribbings, I am going to decrease 2 stitches on the way up, so I will work until 2 stitches, and I'm going to leave 2 stitches without working, and 1 stitch on the way back. As I told you, one ribbing has 2 rows. So I am going to continue now row 45, so I'm going to skip 2 stitches on the way up, decrease 2 stitches on the way up, 1 stitch on the way down, and I'm going to do the same thing for row 46, row 47 and row 48. On the way back at the row 48, I am going to end up with 40 stitches, 40 half double crochet stitches, and of course 10 slip stitches here at the end. This is the amount of stitches that I'm going to end up at the end of row 48. So I will see you once I finish these 4 ribbings. So here we are, guys. I finished also the last 4 decreases, the last 4 ribbings with the decreases. So here is the first ribbing, the 44th ribbing, and then I did the other 4 ribbings where I decreased 2 stitches upwards, 1 stitch downwards. So this is ribbing 45, this is ribbing 46, this is ribbing 47, and this is ribbing 48. At the end, when I went backwards of the ribbing 48, I have 40 stitches over here and 10 slip stitches. Now the next thing, that this is the last ribbing that I'm doing, and the last ribbing is going to be ribbing 49 for size S, of course, and I'm gonna just not do any increases or decreases. So I'm just gonna go 1 row upwards and downwards, and this is going to be ribbing 49, so 10 slip stitches and 40 closed half double crochet, and the same amount on the way back. So I will see you once I finish row 49 and ribbing 49. And here we are, finished also the last ribbing number 49, and you can see that the last ribbing has no increase or decrease. And yes, you guys, this was the full pattern of the back panel. Okay, so that was the pattern, and because I have already left yarn for the front sizes to sew here, so here I'm not going to leave any yarn, just a little bit, but I'm just going to cut. So up to now we have the back panel and we have the 2 front panels crocheted, which are going to be like this, and the other one on the other side. So now once I did these panels, I'm going to work the sleeves. Now for the sleeves I have already crocheted one of them. So the sleeves are going to be like this. Also the construction of the sleeve is quite easy. So what we are going to do for the sleeve is just start with a certain amount that I'm going to tell you. Then for size S, I'm just going to increase for 5 ribbings, and then I'm just going to continue crocheting the same amount for a certain amount, and Then I'm going to do, since I'm going to do here 5 increases for 5 ribbings, then I'm going to do for the next 5 ribbings over here, I'm just going to do 1 decrease for each. So this is very, very simple. So I have already crocheted the second sleeve as well up to a certain point. So I am just going, here is the remaining is also only the decreases of pattern over here. So this part over here, I'm just going to show it to you now, the pattern, but I'm not going to do the total amount of chains because it is quite long to show it. I'm just going to do it in a miniature, okay? But I'm going to tell you what is the amount of the chain stitches that you need to start. It's just that mine, it is going to be a little bit shorter, just for the purpose of showing it to you. But the amount that I'm going to give you, it is the amount of the stitches that I did over here, okay? So we are going to start now the sleeve, and of course we work the sleeve with the ribbings like this. Okay, you guys, so let's start with the pattern of the sleeve. So for the sleeve, we are going to crochet. We are starting with 111 stitches, and 1 stitch is going to be for the turning, and 110 stitches are going to be used for crocheting. From this 110 stitches, 10 stitches are slip stitches because they are going to be here for the ribbing of the wrist ribbing. So for the wrist ribbing we are going to have 10 slip stitches, okay? And the rest, like 100 stitches, are going to be used for the closed half double crochet. So I'm going to start with 111 stitches. So once you have 111 chain stitches, of course I told you I'm not going to do the total amount because I have already crocheted that. So I'm just going to show you how to do all the pattern, but in a miniature, okay? So let's say that these here are 111 stitches. So the pattern for the first row, it is going to be skip the first chain stitch and insert the hook in the second chain stitch, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. I'm going to continue crocheting slip stitches until I have 10 in total, 10 slip stitches. And of course I'm going to put a marker here at the 10th one, so then I know where the slip stitches start. And then for the rest, I'm going to continue crocheting 100 closed half double crochet until the last chain. So once I finish the 100 closed half double crochet stitches, I finished also the first row, and I did also 1 chain stitch, and then I turn my work on the other side. And now I'm going to start the second row, and for the second row I'm going to skip the chain that I just did. I'm going to yarn over and insert the hook at the back loop of the stitch, of the second stitch from the hook, and crochet 1 closed half double crochet. So I'm going to continue crocheting closed half double crochet until the marker over here. So in total I have 100 closed half double crochets, and then once I arrive at the marker I will switch to slip stitch at the back loop until the end. So the pattern for the second row, it is 100 closed half double crochets and 10 slip stitches, but this time in the back loop. Okay, so here we are. So I finished the second row, and then I'm going to do 1 chain stitch and I'm going to turn my work. So if you see this row, the row 1 and row 2, actually they form the first ribbing. So this is the first ribbing, and this was the pattern of the first ribbing. So now I'm going to continue crocheting ribbing number 2. Ribbing number 2, it is again made of 2 rows, and ribbing number 2, it is made of row 3 and row 4. Now for ribbing number 2, we are going to increase with 1 closed half double crochet stitch on the way up, and we are not going to increase on the way down. So if for the first ribbing we had no increases or decreases, for the second ribbing, we will have one increase, and the one increase we will do it on the first row that we go upwards. So the pattern for the second row, it is going to be again 10 slip stitches here for the cuff. We always will keep these 10 slip stitches, just that when we come here at the end, we are going to crochet at the last stitch, not one but 2 close half double crochets at the last stitch. So in total we're going to have 101 close half double crochets. So let's crochet row number 2, sorry, ribbing number 2, row number 3. So I'm going to do 10 slip stitches in the back loop. Then after these 10 slip stitches, I'm going to do 101 closed half double crochet. So at the last one, I'm going to crochet 2 in the same stitch. So here at the last stitch, I already crocheted 1, and I'm going to crochet another one, a second closed half double crochet in the same stitch, and I increased with 1 stitch. So this is the pattern for the row number 3 and the first row of ribbing number 2. Then I'm just going to do 1 chain, turn my work. I will skip the chain that I did, yarn over, and I'm going to crochet 1 close half double crochet in the back loop of the second stitch from the hook, and I'm going to continue crocheting close half double crochet stitches until the marker. And I'm not increasing or decreasing for row number 4 or the second row of ribbing number 2. So I am just going to continue crocheting 101 close half double crochets until the marker, and when I arrive at the marker I will switch to slip stitch, then 10 slip stitches to the end of the row. So this is the pattern for the 4th row, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so here we are, and this is how it will look like. So I'm turning on the right side, and you can see now that I have the second ribbing, and I have increased with 1 stitch here, which will connect with the shaping of the underarm. Okay, so this was the pattern for ribbing number 2. I am going to continue crocheting another 4 ribbings with the same amount of increases that I did for ribbing number 2. So I will continue crocheting ribbing number 3, 4, 5, 6 and increasing with the same amount of stitches that I did for ribbing number 2. So I will continue from ribbing number 3 to ribbing number 6, and for each ribbing at the upwards row I'm going to increase with 1 close half double crochet, and I'm not going to increase at the downwards row. I hope this makes sense. So since I increased with 1 stitch for ribbing number 2, so for ribbing number 2 I had 101 close half double crochet stitches. Then for ribbing number 3 I'm gonna have 102 close half double crochet stitches, since I'm increasing for each ribbing with 1 stitch. So when I will arrive at ribbing number 6, at the end of ribbing number 6, I'm gonna have 105 closed half double crochet stitches, and of course 10 slip stitches because they never change. So I will continue crocheting another 4 ribbings from number 3 to number 6, and for each ribbing I'm increasing with 1 stitch upwards and no stitches downwards. So I will see you once I finish ribbing number 6. Okay, you guys, so here it is. This is how your work it is going to look like, except a little bit longer because this is a miniature, as I told you. After you crochet 6 ribbings, so the first ribbing has no increases or decreases, but the next 5 they do. They have 1 increase on every upwards row, as I told you. So at the end you are going to end up with a piece like this, where you have in total here 105 close half double crochet stitches, and then you're gonna have again of course 10 slip stitches over here. So once you do this piece, then You're gonna start from row number 7 until, from ribbing number 7 until ribbing number 26, you are going to just continue crocheting forth and back the same amount of stitches. So once you finish ribbing number 6 and you come backwards here, then you start ribbing number 7, and ribbing number 7 you are just going to continue crocheting 10 slip stitches, 105 close half double crochet stitches on the way up and again on the way back, the same amount of stitches. Then from ribbing number 7 you are going to continue this amount of stitches until you finish ribbing number 26. Again, always we finish the ribbing at the slip stitch size. Okay, so you are going to continue the same amount, and I have already crocheted that previously, so then I'm going to show you the piece. Okay, so here is the normal size, and as you can see, I have done the 6 ribbings over here, including this one. These are the 6 ribbings where I did 5 of them have increases, 1 increase each, and the first one has no increases. Then I continued crocheting another 20 ribbings over here. Then I have, if you count this one that is in the same level, you're gonna have 21, but this actually is the last one that we increased. So you're gonna have 20 ribbings over here, and in total I'm gonna have 26 ribbings. Now I'm going to start to do the decreases on the other side. So I'm going to decrease the same amount of stitches that I increased on this side. This is pretty easy to understand, right? So from ribbing number 27, I'm going to decrease on the way up with 1 stitch and no decreases on the way back. So for ribbing number 27, I'm just going to continue crocheting 10 slip stitches over here, and then I'm going to continue crocheting 104 close half double crochet stitches, and then on the way back the same amount that I did on the previous row. And that is what I'm gonna do for row number 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. Okay, so for the coming 5 ribbings, sorry, not rows, for the coming 5 ribbings, I'm going to decrease 1 close half double crochet stitch on the way up always. So for ribbing 27, I'm gonna have 104 close half double crochet stitches. For ribbing 28, I'm gonna have 103. For ribbing 29, I'm gonna have 102. For ribbing 30, I'm gonna have 101. And then for ribbing 31, I'm gonna have 100 close half double crochet stitches. So this is the amount. So let's start the pattern for ribbing 27. So as I told you, I am doing 10 slip stitches and 104 stitches. So I will leave 1 stitch here at the end without working. Okay, so here we are. I finished the full row, and here at the end I just left the last stitch without crocheting it. Then I'm gonna do 1 slip stitch, I'm gonna turn my work, and on the way back I'm just going to continue crocheting the same amount of stitches, 104 close half double crochet and 10 slip stitches here at the end. This will be the last row for ribbing 27. And here it is. This is how the first decrease, the first row, the first ribbing with decrease looks like. And actually you cannot see much, but there is a slight decrease over here with 1 stitch. So that is what I'm going to continue decreasing. So I'm going to continue ribbing 28, 29, 30 and 31. So I'm going to continue another 4 ribbings, and for these other 4 ribbings I am always on the way up I am going to decrease with 1 stitch here at the end. So at the second row of ribbing 31 on the way back, I'm going to end up with 100 close half double crochet stitches over here, and of course 10 slip stitches. So I'm going to continue another 4 ribbings with decreasing on the way up 1 stitch, and one more ribbing, the ribbing 32, which is going to be the same amount of the stitches of a ribbing 30 of the second row of ribbing 31. So I'm going to continue 4 more ribbings, decreasing 1 stitch at the top over here on the way up, and 1 more ribbing. Then after this 4, the 5th one, I'm just not going to increase or decrease. I'm just going to do 1 more ribbing forth and back, which is ribbing number 32, and that will be the end of this pattern. So I will see you once all the next 5 ribbings are finished. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I did finish the last 4, as I told you. So this is what we did together. This is the first ribbing that we decreased with 1 stitch, and then I crocheted another 1, 2, 3, 4. For all the next 4 ribbings, I again decreased with 1 stitch. And then the last one, the 32nd ribbon, and the last one, I just did not do any increases or decreases. I just went 1 row upwards, 1 row downwards with the same amount of stitches, and I left some yarn. So in this case now I can sew with the leftover yarn, and this is the sleeve. So the sleeve, we are just going to fold it by 2 like this, fold it in 2, and then I'm going to sew with the leftover yarn all this part over here until the end. So of course you need 2 of them, and the previous one I already did it previously over here, so this is going to be folded as well. And yeah, so I think now we have all the panels. So these are the sleeves, then we have the 2 front panels and the back panel. The next thing that we are going to do is assembling all the panels together. So we are going to sew the sleeves over here, going to sew both of them. Then I'm going to sew the panels like this on this side at the shoulders. Just make sure that the ribbings correspond to one another. So 1 ribbing here with 1 ribbing here, and the same thing on the other side. I will sew it here and over here. I'm not going to show you all the details of the sewing because it's just going to be a very simple sewing. And this kind of stitch, it is very forgiving when you sew. You don't have to be, or you don't have to make a very special sewing, because it is really very forgiving. Like even if you sew it just like this, it will still look nice. Okay, you guys, so what I'm gonna do next, I'm just going to continue sewing them. And then once the sewing is finished, I am going to do the last part of the cardigan, which is the border over here all around. So I'm going to tell you how we are going to do that, and yeah, the buttons at the end. So let's sew the panels, and I will meet you once all the panels are sewn. So guys, here we are. I did sew the whole panels, all the panels together. So right now it looks like this, and it is going to be better once we do also the ribbing over here. We're gonna do a slip stitch ribbing all around, and also leaving the holes for the buttons. So I am going to work now again this way, and I'm going to work all with slip stitch. So you just take the same yarn, and again, there is no pattern for that, but I will just try to have 1 slip stitch per each stitch. So I'm just going to do 1 slip stitch per stitch all around, and only these parts here where we have all these increases, we're gonna be trying to crochet them in a way that they are not just crumbled like this. So yeah, that is the part that we have to be careful with. So first let's just insert the hook. Here at the beginning I will just grab only one side. I will not grab like the full both loops of the stitch, but you can do that if you want to. And at the first one I'm gonna do just one chain, so then I know that here is my first slip stitch, and then I'm going to insert the hook at the next stitch. I'll try to tangle this end as well, and I will just work with slip stitch. I am going to put a marker at the first chain. I'm going to put a marker at the first chain that I did over here, so then I know this is my last stitch that I have to work, and I don't come here and skip stitches here at the end, because it will look not nice. We have to work all the stitches. Then we are just going to continue crocheting one slip stitch on each stitch. So again, insert the hook, grab one stitch and slip stitch again. There is not an exact count number, just try to crochet a slip stitch for each stitch, okay? This is the first row, and probably it doesn't look you cannot see much of the pattern right now, but I think when you start to do the second and the third row, you can see the pattern of the slip stitch. So it is just going to be like this. Slip stitch is this part over here as well. So this one, we're just doing it here. So here at the center, the stitch that is like pointed over here, I am going to try to make it as flat as possible. So I'll just try to make this transition from the side to this side as flawless as possible, so we don't have, you know, mountains, ups and downs. So I'm going to just grab the stitch over here. I'm going to grab this stitch and yeah, and then I will continue. As you see here, I have all this, the decreases. So again, I will try to grab a stitch over here. And then here at the top, where is the decrease? I will actually put it from the outside to the inside, like this. And here again, so I will have two and put through the 3 loops. So now again, I will insert to the next one and slip stitch. Then again, I will grab the top here. And again here I will grab the top and from the back towards, and then I will insert it also here, yarn over, and I will just pull it through. So you can see that they just come together seamlessly. And I will leave them a little bit loose. So always grab the top from the behind and grab the other one here, the next one, yarn over and pull through. Then work the next one, slip stitch, and then a second one, slip stitch, and then here at the top again from the back, grab one, insert the hook, and then next to the hole here, yarn over, pull through, and like slip stitch. Like this, you're gonna have like a seamless. So let me show you another time. So to the next ribbing over here, I will just do a simple slip stitch. And then here in the middle, again, one more slip stitch. And here where is the top, I will just insert from the back to the front. And then where I have here the, you see this hole, again, insert the hook and here I'm going to yarn over and I will pull this loop through all the other loops. So just continue doing that, all the stitches one by one. I can't tell you exactly the exact number, but just keep doing this as I told you, and then once you finish all the increases, then you're just gonna go all around on the back, and then you're gonna come back here again try to grab this one and connect them in a seamless way, as same as we did here. Just come all around and then work the other side to the end. Then we are just going to do one chain and we're going to work all the slip stitches all around one by one on this way back. So let's continue crocheting the slip stitch round until we start to do the holes. Okay guys, so here we are. I did finish 8 rows of slip stitches, forth and back. So I'm back to the point where I started. It's just that I have this amount of stitches made over here, crocheted over here, and I did stop because now I am going to start to do the holes for the buttons. So I am planning to have 3 buttons here. One is going to be here, one is going to be here, and another one is going to be here at the end. So that's the plan. And I have calculated that for the opening of each button I will need 5 stitches. So I need a space of 5 slip stitches. So since my first one is here, I'm going to put a marker where I'm going to do the openings. So the openings are going to be on your right side, okay? No. Yeah, the openings are going to be on the right side and the buttons are going to be sewn on the left side. So I'm going to put this one because this shows where the opening should start. So here is the placement. So here I'm going to start, so this is going to be the last stitch that I do with a slip stitch, and then the next 5 are going to be a hole. So we're just going to do 5 chain stitches, and then we are going to continue the slip stitches until the marker here, and then again 5 chain stitches, and we're going to skip here 5. So I'm just going to show you, but the marker shows the place where is the last slip stitch and where the hole starts. I'm going to take out now those, and I'm just going to go back and just do the same slip stitch. I just want to show you how I do the holes. So I'm just going to skip the chain stitch, insert the hook at the back loop of the second stitch and slip stitch. I will continue to do slip stitches until the marker. So also the stitch of the marker, where the marker is placed, I'm going to do it with, I'm going to crochet it with a slip stitch. So take out the marker here and slip stitch. So since here it was the marker, I'm going to now count 5 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here I'm going to skip 5 slip stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to do slip stitch at the 6th one. Here we have the hole. Let me check. It feels a little bit big. So for that purpose I'm gonna do 4. So I'm gonna do 4 chain stitches and not 5 because it looks a little bit big. So I'm gonna skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to work the 5th one in the back loop as a slip stitch. So let me try now. Yeah, it is tighter and it is better like this. So change from the previous one, not 5 chain stitches but 4 chain stitches. Then I'm going to continue working with slip stitches, all the stitches one by one until the marker, where I have the next marker over here. Okay, I will also do this here. And then I'm going to do, once I crocheted also the stitch of the marker, so 4 chain stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then skip here 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and back loop, slip stitch in the back loop at the 5th one. So here I have the second hole. And I'm gonna do the same thing at the other marker. So continue doing slip stitches until the next marker. So now another 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch at the back loop of the 5th one. And from now on I don't need to do any more holes because I did all 5 of them, all 3 of them. So I have 1, 2, and 3. And that's it pretty much. I'm just going to continue working slip stitch, all the stitches one by one, all around. So I'm just going to continue working slip stitches all around, and then again slip stitches on the way back. On the way back where we have the chain stitches, we are just going to continue doing slip stitch on each of the chain stitches, and we are going to continue crocheting forth and back until we have the same amount that we had before we started the holes. So previously I did 8 rows, which means 4 rows this direction and 4 rows on this direction. Okay, so I did 8 over here of slip stitches. So including the row with the chain stitches, I'm going to continue crocheting another 8 row on the other side of the opening of the buttons. So now let me continue crocheting the other 8 rows with slip stitch, and then I will show you how the work looks like once the whole border it is finished. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished the whole border over here. So this is how it looks like. Here are the buttonholes. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is sewing the buttons, of course, and I would also suggest you to block your projects. So I totally 100% encourage you to block your projects, not with steam or anything like that, but even sometimes just immersing them in lukewarm water, or even in cold water. Sometimes it will still give your project a total different look. So that is what I'm gonna do next, and yeah, so let me show you how this project turned out.